Ta-da!
Hello gamers, Matthew here from Grey Army Gaming in Lund, Sweden. For this video, we are going to do another video in our series Basic Battles. I've come up with another game that we can play with our kids, and I'm going to call it Guerrillas versus Soldiers. Now this game is really simple. It's basically a matchup of dice in a war one-on-one kind of game. Now what makes the game interesting, however, though, is that there's sort of an interesting narrative story behind it. What we have here is the guerrilla fighters on the home turf, and we have over here the soldiers who are invading the guerrilla territory. Now what makes this interesting is we have guerrilla soldiers that are weaker in powers. We have 1d6s over here. The soldiers are stronger, 1d8s. But the difference now is that we have more guerrilla fighters than we have soldiers. So essentially we have 5 1d8s for the soldiers, and we have a total of 9 1d6s for the guerrillas. Now when we start the game, I let my kids pick which side they want to be. Do you want to be the guerrilla fighters or do you want to be the soldiers? And once they pick which side that they want to be, we then begin the game. So the rules for this game are really simple. We take our soldiers and we begin with one soldier one at a time, and each of us selects one of our soldiers and we roll out the die. Now you see here I rolled a 2 and a 1. So the higher die wins and the loser will be killed, and you remove them from play. Then we select our next guerrilla fighter, and we can use the same soldier here. He's still in the battlefield. Roll it out. He rolled a 1. He rolled a 6, so he is dead. We will remove him from play. And you keep going basically until there are no soldiers left, until you are the last remaining soldier or guerrilla fighter, and that side then wins and gets 1 point. We play up to a total of 6 points. Now there's a couple things that happen that are interesting in the rules when we have, for example, ties. Let's say that we both rolled a 5. In this case, we would both of these guys would be knocked unconscious. We'd move them to the side, and then we would go ahead and select another fighter and another soldier and roll it again. In this case, I got a 4 and a 2, so these two remain alive, and these two are removed as dead from the game. Were I to have one soldier left, for example, and we rolled, and were we to tie, obviously we are not able to bring in other troops to fight for us. So in this case, if it is my last soldier, I don't have any more soldiers to fight, then we can go ahead and re-roll those again. A 3 and a 4, he is removed from the game. Then this player would win and get a point for that round. And this is how the game progresses, and we are winning individual battles until we get to the first person to get a total of 6 points in the end wins the game overall. Let's use this example. Say we're both at 5 victories. The next victory wins. Each of us has 1 soldier and 1 guerrilla fighter left. This is our last roll, a 3 and a 4. So the guerrilla fighters won. He will be removed from play. They will get their 6 point, and the guerrilla fighters will have won that overall conflict. Well, there you have it, folks. A simple rule set for our basic battles game that we are calling Guerrillas versus Soldiers. This is a game that is really easy to learn. There's not a whole lot of strategy, but there's a lot that happens, a lot of dice rolling, which means it's a really exciting game for kids who are 5, 6, 7 years old. I can highly recommend that you try it out with your kids. My kids have really enjoyed it. Well, thank you for joining us here today for this Basic Battles rules explanation here at Grey Army Gaming for the future of fantasy.
Basic Battles, Tabletop Games for Kids.